Hi students, how are you? Hope you're fine and safe. Today, I'm going to talk about simple past tense. But before, we have to know what is tense. Tense is a change of form in a verb to express the time of an action. As you can notice here, based on time frame, the verb tenses may be categorized according to the time frame, which are present tense, past tense, and future tense. First, we are going to talk about present tense. Present tense expresses an unchanging, repeated, or recurring action or situation that exists only now. It can also represent a widespread truth. For example, the sun rises every morning. This action is a truth that happens every day. Past tense. Past tense expresses an action or situation that was started and finished in the past. For example, I went to the village last week. This action happened in the past and finished in the past. Number 3, future tense. Future tense expresses an action or situation that will occur in the future. For example, we will go back to school soon. This action will take place in the upcoming days. Now, let's talk about the usage of the simple past tense. Why do we use simple past tense? We use it to talk about actions that happened at a specific time in the past. You state when it happened using a time expression like yesterday and last month. For example, last year I took my exams. We can't say last year I take my exams because we have the time expression last year. Number 2. It can be used to describe events that happened over a period of time in the past but not now. For example, I lived in Asia for 2 years, but now I'm not. Number 3, it is also used to talk about habitual or repeated action that took place in the past. For example, when I was a child, we always went to the seaside on bank holidays. Keep in mind that the past form is the same for all persons. For example, I ate my food. She ate her food. They ate their food. Which means in singular and plural form, the verb will be the same. However, verbs in the past tense may be regular and irregular verbs. Let's define what are regular past tense verbs. Regular verbs are those whose past tense and past participles are formed by adding a d or an ed to the end of the verb. To roll is a good example of regular verb. Roll in the present form. Rolled in the past, we added ed, and rolled is in the past participle, we added ed also at the end of the verb. Regular verbs. To form the affirmative past tense of most regular verbs, we have to add to the ed to the base form of the verb. For example, wash becomes washed. We just added ed. Here we mean by affirmative the base form of the verb without adding any suffix. But of course, if you want to change it into the past tense, as we said, we have to add d or ed. Rule number 2. If the verb ends in e, just add d, like live becomes lived. If the verb ends in a consonant preceded by a vowel, double the final consonant. For example, stop, it ends with a consonant letter P. Before it we have a vowel letter O, so we have to double the consonant letter and then add ed. If the verb ends in y preceded by a consonant, omit, cross the Y and add IED. Copy, we cross the Y because before the Y we have consonant letter, as we learned before that Y and consonant letters do not love each other, so we have to cross the Y and put instead it I and then add ED. If the verb ends in Y preceded by a vowel, just keep the Y as it is and just add ED because Y and vowel letters love each other. However, irregular verbs are different from regular verbs. You should review the list of irregular verbs given before in your grammar booklet. Irregular verbs are common verbs in the English language that do not follow the simple system of adding D or ED to the end of the word from the past tense. That means the spellings can be a little tricky. Some irregular verbs follow patterns such as drink, drank, spring, sprang. We here changed the vowel letters. Instead of I, we put A. No, new, and blow, blew, also the vowel letters. But we can't use those patterns with predictability. Unfortunately, learning irregular verbs means memorization, so you have to study them by heart because they don't follow any rule, as we here see. Here are some examples about irregular verbs in the past tense. Go becomes went, come came, buy bought, drink drank, eat ate, find found, and see saw. This is the simple past tense of the verb to be. We have singular and plural form. In singular, I takes was, you takes were, she, he, it also take was. We were, you were, and they were. Now let's learn how to form affirmative, negative, and no, yes, no questions in simple past tense. In affirmative sentence, we have to start with the subject plus the verb in past tense plus the complement. Complement is the rest of the sentence, the object. Tom visited us last week. Tom is the subject. Visited in the simple past tense. Us last week is the complement. Second kind is the negative sentence. Whenever we say negative, we have to use not. We have to start again with the subject, helping verb did because we are talking about past tense, not, plus the verb in base form plus complement. For example, Tom did not visit us last week. Please keep in mind whenever you use did not, never say Tom did not visited us last week. Didn't is the short form, the contraction of did plus not. Again, whenever we use the helping verb did, the verb should be in the base form. Kinds of questions in past simple. We have also yes or no questions. We have to start with did, the helping verb did, place it in the beginning of the sentence. And don't forget, of course, the question mark at the end. Did plus the subject Tom. Visit is the verb in base form plus the complement question mark. Informative questions. Starting with WH words, which are who, when, where, what, and why, plus did, plus the subject verb in base form because we have the helping verb did, plus the complement. Where did you run last year? I can't say where did you ran last year. The answer should be in the past. I'm going to say I ran. Keep in mind that there are time expressions that guide you to know the correct tense. Time expressions: yesterday, last week, last month, ago, 2 weeks ago, 3 days ago. When plus the past. For example, when I was a child, when I was 15. These are some time expressions which you should use when you talk about events happened in the past, and it's important to use them in narrative paragraphs. Now students, study well please and stay safe. Thank you for listening.